This is Central Prison in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's home to about 930 inmates doing time for crimes that range from DWI all the way up to first-degree murder. Those guys in red, they're on death row. Locked up with essentially nowhere to go, things can get pretty tense in this place, and the pressure is typically on guys like this. He's a correctional officer, one of about 11,000 in the state prison system. By most accounts, it's one of the most challenging and underpaid jobs on the state payroll.
Yes, sir. I've been injured. I've been assaulted. I've been kicked. I've been spit on, verbally assaulted day in, day out.
1 week before this interview, two female correctional officers at Pasquotank Correctional Institution in Elizabeth City were hurt by a pair of inmates, one of whom got hold of an officer's baton and beat her with it, sending her to the hospital with broken bones.
They're in a dangerous environment. We toy with trying to educate our staff on how dangerous it is, at the same time not wanting to provoke fear in them, not wanting them to be so fearful that they can't do the job. But there has to be an element of fear because we don't know what's going to happen day in and day out that they're going to have to respond to.
The profession is getting a new spotlight this year. In his State of the State speech in February, Governor Pat McCrory pointed out that in 2014, a North Carolina correctional officer was assaulted every 11 hours. He said they deserve better pay and recommended $21 million in his proposed budget for that purpose. Separately, a state Senate bill is proposing that correctional officers have the right to carry concealed weapons while off duty, a measure in response to inmates communicating threats such as,
"I know where you live, I know your families." So there's a thin line.
Unless I'm a family man, when I come into prison, that's the first thing I do is prepare myself for the unknown. I tell myself I'm gonna go home as I came in, to my family. And just like it's just the fear of being put in something that you have no idea what's gonna happen.
Subsequently, turnover is high. Lassiter said he's hiring 2,200 correctional officers a year, meaning he's replacing 2,200 no longer on the job. On average, they make less than $30,000 a year in North Carolina. It would take a budget increase from the legislature to change that. Occasionally, something happens that puts a mark on the state prison system. In April 2014, a mentally ill inmate was found unresponsive in the back of a van that was transferring him from a Taylorsville prison to Central. Officials determined Michael Anthony Kerr had died of thirst, which caused public outrage. Several state prison employees lost their jobs, including a corrections captain, for how they handled Kerr's welfare. But Lassiter says the positive talent on hand represents the vast majority of the state prison staff, and they're always working for positive outcomes.
Correctional officers are here at Central Prison 24/7, so someone will always be in front of an inmate having some type of conversation with them. That conversation is a huge and a very intricate part of the criminal justice family. And it's interesting because that person is the person that starts the rehabilitation efforts for that individual. So a correctional officer has to be a counselor. He or she has to be a mother to some of these inmates that never had a mother, father to some of them that never have a father. They have to be a listening board to some of them. So their interaction with the inmate day in and day out determines what type of day and what type of product we're going to produce in the end.
They're dealing directly with the inmate population day in, day out. They're feeding, they're escorting, and it's a difficult job, and it takes a very special individual to be able to do that job.
Officer Atkinson isn't deterred by the challenges. He plans to be a lifer.
I chose this as a career, so I'm still learning today, so I can better myself to be a sergeant and go to a lieutenant and move up the ranks.
He would, in essence, be another Lassiter. Lassiter has worked in the prison system for 25 years. Before he was Deputy Operations Director, he was warden at Central Prison. But he started out as a correctional officer at a prison in Northampton County in 1989. After all this time, he seems to know everybody, and he definitely has a philosophy about what it takes to work 12-hour shifts in a prison.
Everyone can't be a correctional officer. Everyone can't fly a plane, everyone can't go to the moon, and everyone definitely can't be a correctional officer. And that how important, we want them to understand how important it is, the job, the profession they've chosen to be a part of, how important it is, and that if they choose to do it and do it the right way, it is a rewarding career because you have a chance to impact change in someone's life, and every profession doesn't have that.
For the Insider State Government News Service and the Raleigh News and Observer, this is Benjamin Brown.